We got to put work in order to have a successful marriage.
Point blank, period.
It's real work.
Real work.
It's hard work.
Hard work.
And we got to be consistent at the work.
Absolutely correct.
Now, in order for that to happen, you got to have space in your life to put that work in.
For sure.
And I don't think, and you let me know.
Yeah.
I don't think, depending on a man's life and what he's willing to actually invest in, he should not assume that responsibility unless he's ready to put that amount of work in.
Point blank, period. Now, that's real talk.
So there is a such thing as being ready for marriage.
There's a such thing as being ready to make the decision for marriage. There is no perfect time to get married.
What does that look like, though? What does being ready to make the decision look like for a young man who's trying to figure out if this is the right time for him?
Well, I'll tell it to you through my experience. Okay, so for me, I knew that commitment was very important. I knew that to be grounded and to be in a committed relationship with one woman was very, very important to me. It was important to me from the time I was 8 years old. So between my parents and Cliff and Claire Huxtable, those two couples, from the time I was 8, I'm like, when I grow up, I'm gonna get married. Point blank, period. I want what my mom and dad have, and I want what Cliff and Claire Huxtable have. I'm not gonna say I want what Bill Cosby has because that includes drugs. So and some charges and some jail time. I don't want any of that smoke. Okay, so I'm 22 years old when I lay eyes on Juliet. Okay, I met her I first laid eyes on her in the youth group. It was April of 1998. Okay. I laid eyes on her in April of 98. No. I laid eyes on her in March of 98. I said hi to her in April. I told her I liked her in May. I told her I was in love with her in June. I proposed to her in July. All of 98.
Wow.
And we got married May 1st of 1999.
5 months?
Uh-huh.
From the time you met her, and you were how old?
I was 22. Yeah, I was 20. I was 21 going on 22.
A decisive 22-year-old.
Oh, yeah, fam. I saw her. I was like, yeah,
nah. How old was she?
She is 3 years younger than me. And so that's all I'll say, because she'll be mad if I say her age.
Did you did you actually know the amount of work it took for marriage at that point in time?
Hell no. Oh, absolutely not. You have a thought in your mind, right, based on whatever examples you see in relationships, whether you have positive or negative examples of relationships, that's marking you, that's informing you. And more of what is not is said, more of what is not said is informing you more than what people actually tell you. So I had a lot of information, good, thankfully, gratefully, graciously, from my parents. But even though I picked up a lot of non-verbal information, the execution is up to every individual, and you bring all of you to this party, and you do not know what's going to come out of you until after you say I do. This is the thing we don't prepare people for when it comes to marriage, because we think, get to know this person, live with them for 2 or 3 years, make sure y'all have sex, make sure you gonna like it, and then if all of those boxes check, we gonna get married. No. Everything you found out up to that wedding day is just what got you to the altar. Everything you about to say I do to is what you don't know. So this is why more than 50% of the marriages end in divorce, because they have no idea that the commitment they're making is not to what they do know about this person. It's what they don't know about this person. Damn.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, bro. You exchange of vows, you looking, she got on her makeup and she got that veil on and, breasts up and booty out and stomach flat and da-da-da, and you got on your tux and your cummerbund and y'all looking at each other's eyes and you crying and you like, you like, and then you thinking, based on everything I know about this woman, it's going to be more of the same.
So in 5 months, because obviously in 5 months you don't know much.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, do you recommend a young man makes that decision in that amount of time? Do you think that there's a right amount of time to get the right amount of information, or is it just a jump?
It's a jump, regardless, right? Okay, 5 months, people can look on the outside looking in and say that was really fast. We would even say it's fast. But I knew it was her.
But at that point, your parents at that point had been married for 20 plus years, right?
Oh, for sure.
And did they have any reservations about you moving fast like that?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I flew her to Cali, and she met my parents, and they were like, "Don't mess this up. Wow, that's gonna be my daughter-in-law. Don't you get it? Make it happen." You know what I mean? Close the deal, fam.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So there was full support.
They was in full support.
What's the discernment that you need? Like, what is it that you see at that point in time, especially somebody with years of experience now?
Yeah.
That you're looking at. Your son brings a woman home. Mm-hmm. What are you looking at of this woman to be able to quickly decide or discern that this is a woman that's going to be the one, that this is going to be your woman?
Yeah. On the surface, does this woman love my son? Like, wholeheartedly. You know what I mean? Can you sense that? Can you feel that? And only some people that have been married for 20 years and worked it out, they're the only ones that's really gonna know that, right? That's why I had to bring her home to my parents. Like, y'all do this check for me. You know, analyze this. Now, at the end of the day, people are human. They can make any decision that they want. So there is a level of risk
right.
when it comes to commitment that I don't want to mitigate at all, right? There's no all-seeing eye that can look deep into the future and run past every scenario and say, if y'all only got 2 pieces of chicken left and 90 cents in the bank account, she gonna still be here. You know what I'm saying? Right. If y'all try to have a baby, but she has 4 miscarriages, you gonna still be here. She gonna still be here. Like, we don't know all the life scenarios, but you want to know as much as you can at the time you make that decision. Is this person a person that is in love with me, that is here for me? Do they accept me where I am now? Do they have the potential to accept me as I grow into whoever I'm going to be? Because who Juliet married at 23 is not the same person she's married to at 47. And I'm not married to the same woman. I talk a lot about guys, cheating on their spouses. And the fact that, okay, whatever you thought you had an old girl, had you just had patience with your wife, she probably would have turned into her.
So are you saying that you have to give your partner opportunity to develop in these different ways?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There's no way you're going to be with somebody for 2.5 decades. They're going to be the same person.
So, I mean, and that's the tricky part. So once they change and you change too,
yeah,
how is it possible to maintain love? Or is it always, I know it's a love in terms of the foundation of it.
Yeah.
But are you always in love the entire marriage?
No, absolutely not.
And what do you do what do you do in between time?
Yeah, you got to like them. I have not always loved my wife. And she for sure has not always loved me. But I've always liked her. And we started as friends. It was a fast friendship. It was a friendship that I compromised. I'm the one that decided to shoot my shot.
Good,
right?
Because it's a lot of men out there in love with their best friend and not saying nothing.
Oh no. that was not going to happen.
Shout out to you.
So I'll tell you exactly how it happened. So I am. So like I said, I laid eyes on her in March, said hi to her in April. In May, I told her I liked her. So I'm talking to her on the phone, and I'm just in love with this girl. So I liked her at that point. So I'm just like, man, her breathing is blessing me. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't care what we talk about, But we're on the phone, and in May, I had talked to my cousin Christy, and I was like, I like this girl more than a friend. But if I tell her, you know how it is when you tell somebody, you in jeopardy of losing the whole friendship if it goes south. You know what I mean? And get put in the friend zone or whatever the case. I got on the phone with her and I said, hey, I'm about to tell you something. And I said, what I have to tell you, I know I run the risk of compromising our friendship. I said, I'm very intrigued by you. I like you more than a friend. And I don't want this to compromise our friendship, but I do need you to know, if you have a boyfriend, you need to know why I'm going to be pissed. And if you do have a boyfriend, I don't want to be your friend. And she was like, well, you know what? Thank thank you for telling me. I really appreciate that. And, based on what you just told me, it won't ruin our friendship. She didn't tell me she liked me back. She didn't reciprocate. Like, oh my God, I was waiting on you to tell me the same thing. Nope. She was just like, thank you for telling me. And this will not ruin our friendship. That was not a red light, gentlemen. That was not a green light, gentlemen. That was yellow. So I proceeded with caution. So you just got to know how to read. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That wasn't rejection. It was just, okay, let me be careful. She didn't wholeheartedly and resoundingly reciprocate what I felt for her. But she did let me know she heard me loud and clear. And she said this wouldn't ruin our friendship. So let's just keep going and let this.
So at that point, she's pretty much open to your interests.
I guess it's a yellow light.
Okay, and at that time, because you said you met her in youth church, so is it fair to say that you pretty much grew up in the church?
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
Okay, so
absolutely.
I have some questions like about your, because I'm assuming everything was typically or pretty much traditional.
Yep.
So did you have premarital sex with your wife before you got married?
We did not.
Okay.
We barely made it.
Wow.
Praise the Lord. I made it to my wedding.
Oh, see, now I see I waited 5 months. She said, we got to wrap this up.
Hey, bro.
Okay.
That was from, now I want to make sure we're clear on the timeline. From the time I laid eyes on her to the time we were engaged was 5 months. From the time I laid eyes on her to the time we were married, it was 13 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So y'all dated 13 months, no sex.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
No, 13 plus 5.
No, it wasn't even 13 months. So we were engaged. Because I told her I was in love with her in June. We got engaged in July. So July to May.
Okay.
So that's 10 months.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 10 months. Yep.
Okay. And it was 100% intentional. You decided not to have premarital sex.
If I'd have had sex with Juliet before I married her, I wouldn't be married to her.